we all ready to have some fun today, yes?
Yes.
That's my favorite answer. By a round of applause, who has ever seen me perform before? By a round of applause.
Yay.
Okay, all of you. This is fantastic news. Now, a lot of times I perform for people who have never seen me before, and I always tell them that, you know, I often know what other people are thinking about me. They think, am I going to be any good? I mean, this is a common question. Whenever we meet someone new, we say, is this person a good person? Is this person going to benefit my life in some way? But what a lot of people don't realize is, as a performer, I wonder the same thing about the audience. Is the audience going to be any good? So I figured, as a way for us to get to know each other a little bit better, I have a magic trick that's also a story about the very first magic show I ever did. This story is 100% true. I did my first magic show right out of this box. I was just 12 years old. There was about, 12 or so people. It was a small group gathered around in my parents' living room. And inside the box, I had some playing cards. Now, mind you, when I was 12, my hands looked much smaller, so I used big-size cards to demonstrate this. I also use big-size cards now because this story is kind of a big deal. A big deal. Thank you. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Now, of the 5 cards, I placed one of them inside the box. And yet, even though I placed one card away, I still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Everyone was so amazed they were stunned silent. Just like you are now. But then, after a brief pause, they threw their hands up in the air and they said, "That's amazing!"
That's amazing.
Thank you, Russ. Hands in the air, though. There we go. That wasn't quite on cue, but I don't blame you. Hey, that rhymed. I don't blame you. I blame the story. Perhaps the story wasn't engaging enough. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you a slightly different story about the very first magic show I ever did. I was just 6 years old, and I did my very first magic show right out of this box. This story is at least 50% true. At 6, I didn't know how to spell, so but I was earnest. I made up for it in earnest. There was about 1,000 people gathered around in my parents' living room. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 humongous cards, little tiny 6-year-old hands, and I placed 1 and 2 cards inside the box. And yet, even though I placed 2 cards away, I still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Everyone threw their hands up in the air and they said,
That's amazing.
"That's amazing." Air 5. There we go. That was much, much better. We had the lines down, we had the choreography. Now all we have to add is the enthusiasm. We're going to add some enthusiasm. You're just in time. Welcome. Welcome. We're going to show our new arrivals what we've been working on. I'm going to tell you a slightly different story, though, about the very first magic show I ever did. I was just 3 years old. I did my very first magic show right out of this box. I didn't even know how to make words yet, so I just scribbled on the box. This story is at least 25% true, by the way. There was about 10,000 people gathered around in my parents' living room. My mother was getting nervous. We ran out of juice for all the guests. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 humongous cards, little tiny 3-year-old hands. Of the 5 cards, I placed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards away. I was only 3, I didn't know how to count. So of the 5 cards, I put 9 of them away. And yet I still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, and everyone was so amazed when all the cards disappeared that everyone said,
That's amazing.
You folks did a wonderful job. Give them a nice big hand. That was right on cue. So much enthusiasm, too. That rhymed as well. That was perfect. So once again, my name is Jonas Cain, and we are here today for some magic. We're also here today to talk about the magic of positivity. Positivity is a very important thing. We live in a world today where everyone just presumes that everyone has ill intent. We live in a world where everyone thinks everyone is out to get us. We live in a world where we're all fighting against each other, but I argue, even using the word argue, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to suggest that it doesn't have to be that way. I'm going to suggest that we could have positivity in our lives. In fact, I have some takeaways for you, little positive word sheets. This program is called Positive Words, and this sheet is called Positive Words. And one for you as well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. See, everyone's so nice here. In Brattleboro, everyone is nice. You should have seen the people yesterday.
Where were you yesterday?
Oh, yesterday I was in Springfield, Springfield, Massachusetts. They need more positivity. I think if everyone from the world could come to Brattleboro, we would solve a lot of problems.
Here, here.
We'll get more into this sheet in just a little bit. But for now, let's talk about a magic word that I use that helps me stay positive. And the magic word is focus. When I was a little boy, this is a true story, unlike the other story I told. This is 100% true story. I used to shoot archery with my father. And the thing is, it was a compound bow, so it had like pulleys and cables and everything, so it made pulling back the arrow much easier. And the idea was if your aim was good, and if you lined up the sights, they had these little pins on the bow. Have any of you ever shot bow and arrow before? Some of you know. So they have these things called sights. So if you estimate your target to be 100 yards away, you line it up with this pin. If it's 50 yards away, you aim a little lower, right? So if your aim was good, if your estimate was correct, and you released with confidence, the arrow would have no choice but to hit its target. Now, there's many reasons, though, that could cause an arrow to miss. Maybe your aim was off. Maybe your estimate was incorrect. Or maybe you didn't release with confidence, so the arrow flew off mark. But there is one thing that's absolutely, positively certain to cause an arrow to miss. And that's by focusing on the wrong things. I had an experience out in Pittsburgh. I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was on tour with a band. I was their opening act with my magic show. The band was called The Ear, the Eye, and the Arm. I'd like to think of myself as the leg, because I helped out with a lot of the leg work, carrying the equipment from the van into the venue. I think that's why they really invited me, was to do a lot of the leg work. But on this particular day, we were making our way down through Pennsylvania. We stopped in Pittsburgh, and I had just helped unloading all of the band's equipment. I went back out to the van to get my stuff, to get my suitcase to start my act. And just as I got outside, I became abundantly aware that there were two street thugs lurking about. Everyone go, ooh, it's perfect. Now, I knew there were street thugs because I've watched TV, you know, they look just like the ones on TV. Have any of you ever met a real life street thug? Any of you? No, this is Brattleboro, of course not. Everyone's so nice here. But in Pittsburgh, there are street thugs, and these look just like the ones on TV. They had hoods and everything. They were literally hoodlums. My gut instinct was to retreat back to the safety of the venue and to wait for the street thugs to scamper off, or whatever it is that street thugs do. But then I hesitated. And I hesitated because I thought that I don't actually know that these are street thugs. That's just what TV is telling me. That's just what society, that's just what the media, that's just what my assumptions are telling me. So I decided to ignore my fears, and I went out to my van to get the equipment to start the show. And just as I got to the sliding doors of the van, I felt two strong arms push me up against the van, and the street thugs proceeded to mug me. Turns out they were street thugs. So this whole thing happened very quickly because I had never been mugged before, so this was all very exciting. I don't recommend it, but it is exciting. It all happened quickly. And the next thing I knew, they were scampering off with my wallet. Oh, it turns out they do scamper. If you ever see them, they do scamper. So I got back into the club. I was still in a bit of a daze, and I got back in just in time to be told that it was time to go on stage and start my magic act. So I walk out on stage, and I start off by saying, so I was just mugged outside. And everyone thought it was part of the show. Everyone just laughed and laughed. I said, no, I'm serious. It's terrible to be here. I don't want to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania anymore. I want to go home. But here's the thing. This whole thing, again, happened very, very quickly. I didn't process everything right away. It took me a few days. I had to, find a safe space to think about my feelings and journal about my thoughts. But once I did process this, I realized something profound, and this is why I'm telling you this story. I realized that the muggers were actually rather kind to me. Well, as nice as muggers can be. It was all in their words, though. Their words were very specific. Words have power. Words have power. This is what they said to me just after they pushed me up against the van. They said, stay cool. Give it up. Do you see it? Stay cool. Give it up. You see, in order to stay cool, you have to already be cool. So they thought I was a pretty cool guy. So as a gesture of my appreciation, I gave them my wallet. But here's the thing, I didn't know how much to tip. I know the standard's, 15, 20%, right? But, they took everything anyway. But the least I could have done was offered them the PIN number to my debit card. That would have been a nice gesture to give them something more. But the whole moral of this story is this. It's what we choose to focus on. I now know, even in this terrible situation, this run-in with the muggers, I now know the true meaning of the name Pittsburgh Steelers. It's an absurd joke, thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for the little smirk. Now, this is a true story. I made a joke out of it. But this is a completely true story, and I used to tell this story as part of another presentation that I used to do. I used to tell it just as a joke, but after the presentation one day, someone came up to me and he told me that he really loved the Pittsburgh Steelers story. So I asked him what it was that he liked so much, because I always like to know how my stories and messages resonate with people. So I asked him what it was that he liked so much. And he said that had he been in that same situation, he would not have been able to find a way to laugh about it. Now this got me to thinking about something. That you could take two different people and put them in the same situation. Now one person can walk away from the experience feeling bitter. The other person can walk away fascinated by the whole thing. The magic word is focus. What are we focusing on? It's kind of like the age-old saying, what do we do when life gives us lemons? What do we do?
Make lemonade.
Oh, thank you, Russ. Thank you, Russ. I was doing this for a group the other day, and the person said, eat it. I think they were hungry. But I said, well, yes, we can eat it, but it's going to be sour. Sometimes life gives us sour things, but we don't want sour outcomes. We want to have sweet outcomes. So we take what life gives us, and we find a way to work with it. We can either fight reality, we could just accept reality, or we can work with reality to have positive outcomes. Now, the positive word search that I passed out to most of you, actually, I don't think Kevin got one. Let's try something. Everyone take a look at this sheet. And I'll give you about a minute to take a look and see how many words you can find. I'm going to keep time. And as soon as you find one word, raise your hand so I can see, okay, we have one person found a word. Anyone else? Finding any words?
I just gave my glasses back to.
Oh, God, it's okay. So Kevin is without eyes right now.
Right.
How are you folks doing? Did you find any words? Okay, so we found a couple words. Okay. We have about 20 more seconds and we'll compare our results. All right, that's about a minute. All right, let's pause and see how we did. I know at least these two tables, you at least found one word each. Did anyone find two or more words? And your name, sir?
Richard.
Richard, how many words did you find?
I guess just 3.
3. And what words did you see?
Or 4.
4. What words did you
Oh,
find?
5.
Oh, 5. Oh my goodness, it keeps adding up.
I found compassion, peace, love, truth, and self-pity.
Ah, okay. Well, this is interesting. This is interesting. So we found 4 positive words, and then we found 1 less than positive word, right? We'll call it a negative word. What word did you folks find?
We found peace and love.
Peace and love. All right, this is great. Now, the reason we do this exercise is that the title at the top of the sheet gives us the focus that we're looking for. We're looking for positive words, right? However, as Richard pointed out, there's other words in here too. There's a bunch of positive words. However, if you keep looking at it, maybe after this, if you go back and look, you're going to find that there's 50% positive words, 50% negative words. Now, the fact that Richard found, 4 positive words and only 1 negative word, well, that's because, of course, we were focused, we were looking for the positive things in life. If we were looking for the negative words, we would have found more negativity than positivity. But this is life, right? This is life. Life gives us things, positive things, negative things, but it's what we choose to focus on. This is how life works. This is also how magic works. There's this term in magic called misdirection. I like to call it redirection. It's directing our attention away from what we don't want to focus on and directing the audience's attention to what we do want them to focus on. And I have a magic trick. I'm going to teach you folks how to do this trick. And this is kind of neat. Oh, it's right here. I call this the handkerchief trick. I call it the handkerchief trick because we use a handkerchief. It goes inside of my fist. I'm going to wave my hand and say the magic words. We know what the magic words are, right?
Sure.
What is it?
Abracadabra.
Oh, abracadabra. That's right, Russ. We say the magic words, abracadabra, and magically we get an egg. Everyone go, yay!
Hey.
There we go, there we go. I love your smile, Richard. Now, as promised, I'm going to teach you how to do this trick. This is just like the word search. It's what we're focusing on. The magic word is focus. To do this, you need an egg that has a hole in it. Everyone go, ooh.
Ooh.
There we go. Thank you. Woo, he says. So this is what's happening. I have a little plastic egg with a hole in it hiding in my pocket. I have the handkerchief in my other pocket. The magic word is focus. When I reach both hands into my pockets, it's as if I'm looking for the handkerchief, but really I'm sticking it in there so I could palm secretly the egg in my hand. And the other hand takes out the handkerchief. Now you don't see me pulling out the egg because I'm literally waving the red thing in the air saying, look at this. I don't say look at this, but my actions say look at this. Again, this is called misdirection or redirection. We look away from the things we don't want to see and we direct the attention to where we do want to see. They use this same technique, by the way, in politics. It's the same thing, same thing. So again, all you do now, you take the handkerchief, shove it into the hole in the back of the egg. Shove, shove, shove. You say the magic words, wave your wand, whatever you want to do to be creative. When you open your hand, you magically get the egg. And everyone goes, yay!
Hey.
There we go. Thank you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Thank you. What's your name?
Jessica.
Jessica?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jessica. Oh, by the way, I showed you this magic trick so that I could amaze you with this next trick. And Jessica, would you help me with this next magic trick? Would you like to help?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate, what's the word I'm looking for? Your politeness. I appreciate your politeness. What's your name?
Layla.
Layla, would you mind helping me out?
Sure.
All right. You can hang on to the little plastic egg, Layla. Now, to do this trick, this is called the blue bag of mystery. Layla,
Yeah.
is there anything inside the bag?
Nope.
No, not yet. We're going to place something inside the bag. And what we're going to place is a little plastic egg. Does anyone have a little plastic egg I can borrow for this? Oh, you brought one. Most
did.
people don't bring one. She thought ahead. You may place the little plastic egg inside the bag. Is there anything inside there now?
The egg.
The egg, yes. You can still feel the egg in the palm of my hand. I haven't snuck it out, right?
Yep.
All right. In a moment, I will sneak the egg out. Hopefully, you're not going to see me do it. Using misdirection. On the count of 1, 2, 3. Take a look inside the bag. Is anything inside the bag?
No.
Feel inside the bag. Feel if there's anything in the bottom, anything at all. Because that egg has vanished. Everyone go, yay! Wow. Oh, or wow. I accept both answers. Now, Layla, in a moment, you're going to do what I'm about to do, so watch very, very closely. In a moment, actually, take one last peek. Is there anything inside the bag? Some people think maybe I cheat. All right. This is what's going to happen. You're going to hold out your hands like this, peaks extended. Very important, right? That shows that there's nothing inside your hand. And then what you're going to do, you're going to let go with your left hand. You'll extend your right arm. You'll show your left hand empty. You'll reach into the air and grab an invisible egg. Imagination. You throw it right into the air. It goes through the ceiling. It's an invisible egg. It's allowed. And on the count of 3 and a flick of the wrist, you're going to catch the egg into the bag with a bang. Not a bang, but a bang. Just like this. You'll show your left hand empty once again. You'll reach into the bottom of the bag. You will pull out what you find, and it will be the egg. Thank you.
I don't really have to do it, right?
Of course you will. Of course you will. This is all very, very simple. All right. Well, first, of course, we have to make the egg disappear. Make sure the egg is still in the palm of my hand. I haven't done anything yet. Now, I should probably explain one other thing. Remember, I said this is all about misdirection. Staying positive, it's about what we focus on. Staying negative is also what we focus on, right? In order to direct people's attention away from the fact that we're sneaking the egg out, there's 2 ways to do this. The first way is the easy way. The other way is the deceptive way. To actually make it look like we're really doing what we're only pretending to do. I'm going to show you the easy way. This is just to get us into the game, all right? This is the easy way. Layla, all right? You ready? This is the easy way to misdirect people's attention. What's that over there? Take a look over there. What could that possibly be? All the way over. Oh, it's nothing. Now we're going to make the egg disappear. Oh, look! It's gone! Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the pity applause. Take a look inside the bag. Anything inside the bag?
No.
Because the egg has vanished.
Yeah.
All right, that was the easy way. Some people think that I, of course, snuck the egg out of the bag and placed it inside my pocket. Do you feel... Okay. Do you feel anything in this pocket? Do you feel anything at all? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? You may pull out what you find. Reach all the way and pull out what you find. Nothing else inside the pocket. It's organic. Would it be amazing if the egg was inside the pepper?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that one. That would be a neat trick.
that would.
I don't know that one. But what I do know is this. It's now your time to shine. Anything inside the bag?
No.
All right, hold out your hands just like this. Pinkies extended. You're doing great. You're doing great. All right. You're going to let go with your left hand. Extend your right arm. Show your left hand empty. Grab an invisible egg. Throw it into the air. You're doing great. On the count of 3 and a flick of the wrist, you're going to catch the bag. Don't catch the bag in the egg. Catch the egg in the bag. On the count of 1, 2, 3, here it comes. Show your left hand empty. People are going to accuse you of cheating. I know you won't cheat.
Right.
But everyone else might think. With your left hand only, reach into the bottom of the bag. If you pull out the egg, all of this applause is for you. And I might pee myself, because that'll be incredible. You did a wonderful job. Thank you so much. One more big hand for Layla. She did wonderful. Wasn't that great? Wasn't she great at that?
Yeah.
The magic word is focus. We get what we focus on. If we're focusing on positive things, we will have positive results. If we're looking for negative things, we will get negative results. Now, we all have examples in our own life of how easy it is to lose focus, and how easy it is to get distracted by the responsibilities of everyday life. I know people, well, I know myself, I've done this too, but I've known people who go through entire years just sort of going through the motions. You know how it's like when you're maybe driving a car, and you're driving a long distance, and then you get to where you're going, but you have no actual recollection of the individual twists and turns to get there. Has that ever happened to you folks? This is kind of what we're talking about. It's easy to get distracted by everyday life. And the way to stop that is to take a look at our focus. I know for me, some of the places to look at when I've lost focus is my calendar. I can take a look at where I've been focusing my time, where I've been focusing my energy. Another place that I like to look at is my bank account. Where have I been focusing my resources? Where have I been focusing my money? You can always tell what's important to people when you can see where they've spent their money. So those are just a couple ideas for you folks. So are we having fun so far? Yes? Is this helpful? Yeah. Is this fun?
Sure.
It's my favorite. I like wrestling. It's like, sure, yeah, why not? Before we go any further, I think it's important to mention this, is that there's a lot of misunderstanding about what positivity really is. Because a lot of people think it's about putting on rose-colored glasses and just walking around pretending everything is fine and dandy, even when everything isn't fine and dandy. Sometimes we think it's about plowing ahead, forging ahead, even when we should make changes in our life. Now, I would suggest that that's not positivity. I would suggest that that's ridiculous. A number of years ago, I was a freshman in high school, and I was invited to perform a magic show for my school at their variety show. They were doing this big talent show, and I decided I wanted to do a very impressive trick. I wanted to do something big. And I thought, what could be more impressive than something that's death-defying, right? And what could be more death-defying than Russian roulette? It would be very impressive if I could pull it off, right? And survive to tell the tale. Now here's the thing, I was a freshman in high school. I was like 13 years old, so of course I couldn't use a revolver. I couldn't use a gun. So what I decided to do was a version of it. So what I got was a series of test tubes. Each test tube was filled with water, except for the last one. The last test tube did not have water. Oh, it was colorless, it was odorless, it looked and smelled just like water, but it wasn't. It was hydrochloric acid. The idea was that I would have a member from the audience come up, I would be blindfolded, and this person would mix up all the test tubes. And I would be guided behind the table, and my job was to pick up each test tube, drinking the contents, leaving just one test tube, of course the one with hydrochloric acid. This was the idea. This was my big idea to impress my fellow students. So the big night came. Imagine a 13-year-old me, right, wearing a lab coat and gloves and goggles and blindfold. And I pick up the first test tube. I kid you not, the very first test tube I drank had the acid.
Oh.
Apparently I wasn't as talented as I thought to perform in the talent show for this piece. Now, I knew right away that it was not water, because water isn't supposed to fizz and bubble in your mouth. So all at once, I threw the test tube down, I spit it out, ripped off my blindfold, and ran off the stage. And here's the thing, everyone thought it was part of the act. No one thought I would be so ridiculous as to use real hydrochloric acid. So everyone is just laughing and laughing. Meanwhile, I have water backstage. I'm gurgling, rinsing my mouth out. And I have this lapel microphone on, this wireless microphone. And I'm like running around. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Get my mother. Because of course my mother was in the audience at this point, freaking out, thinking, what happened to my son? Why didn't I know he was doing this? Because of course I didn't tell my parents the magic trick I was planning on doing. They wouldn't have let me, right? So if you want to do something, be sneaky about it, right? Bad idea, bad idea. So there we were, my mother and I, driving to the hospital, and I'm just hanging out of the passenger side window, spitting. Because the acid had eaten away at my esophagus. I could not swallow even my own saliva. So I'm hanging out the window spitting. And even in this terrible circumstance, in this terrible situation that I put myself in, I cannot recommend doing this. No one should ever do this. Even in this terrible situation, I had the presence of mind to turn to my mother in between spits. And I said to her, we must never speak of this. I was already so embarrassed. I was in pain, but I was also embarrassed. So we get to the hospital. I end up on a feeding tube. They put me on a feeding tube because, again, I couldn't even swallow saliva, let alone solid food. Which was just as well, though, because I couldn't taste anything. The acid had eaten away my taste buds on my tongue. Thankfully, they do grow back. The doctors call it a bald tongue. Very rare, very rare. I had it. But I tell you this story because even in this terrible situation, there is a silver lining. There's a saying, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, right? As long as we're focusing on the positive, we will never really lose. We'll just learn some things. And I learned something in this situation. I now know that acid whitens your teeth. So I got a good smile out of it. I don't recommend it, but acid does work. Now, I tell you this story because I was sure that I was going to be successful in performing this magic trick. And I was sure that I was going to be successful because I practiced it. And in rehearsal, it worked most of the time. Now here's the thing, of course, I didn't use real acid in rehearsal. Why would I practice something that I can only fail once? I can't afford to fail it more than once, right? So why practice something you can only fail once? So in rehearsal, I used seltzer. So in rehearsal, the trick worked most of the time. Sometimes I still drank the seltzer by mistake. But as the big night was approaching, I said to myself, no, this just has to work. I put on my rose-colored glasses and I said, no, it just has to work. So it is going to work. I put on a positive attitude about the whole thing. But a positive attitude is not the same as being confident that something is going to work out. That's not positivity, that's ridiculous. Now, a positive attitude is good to get us into the game. A positive attitude can get us started, but there has to be something more to keep us going, to make sure that we keep going. And I already mentioned what I think positivity is a moment ago. Maybe you caught it. Beyond an attitude, I think positivity is confidence. I've been learning sign language. It's confidence. Think about it. When we say that we're positive of something, does it mean that we're not too sure? When we say we're positive, does it mean we only wish something was so, or we only wish something is going to work out? Or do we mean that we are sure, that we are confident, that we know the truth? What do we think? Hi, Ann, nice to see you. Now, of course, when we say we're positive, it means we are sure, right? It means we know the truth. It means that we are confident of what's going on. So that's why I say positivity, again, an attitude is great. It gets us started. But to keep us going is to foster and build confidence. And I think a good place to start, going back to that worksheet I gave you folks, a good place to start is with our words. The words that we use to display our circumstances, the words that we look for and we focus on. Because positivity requires an honest assessment of reality, at least in my understanding of positivity. It requires an honest assessment of what is really going on. But we have the choice to focus on this frame that we build to display our circumstances. And this frame is made up of the words that we choose to focus on. Now, these words can either lift us up, or they can drag us down. Do we have any artists here? Anyone who likes to draw? Any artists? Kevin, do you draw at all? No? Richard, do you draw? No? Jessica, do you draw?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? You do?
Yeah.
All right, Jessica. We have a red fancy handkerchief, just like the one we used with the egg a moment ago. And let's see, do you know how to draw an elephant? What's that?
No.
No? Well, draw anything you like then. Something that you can draw with the marker. The cap is off. Draw anything you like. I like to have an elephant, because an elephant is something that's easily recognizable. It's something that we know it's something big, it's something heavy. It also goes in line with the saying, what's the saying? Oh, the elephant in the room. It's that negative thing that no one wants to talk about, that no one wants to address. Now, not talking about the elephant might help us have a positive attitude, but that's not our reality. So let's see what Jessica draws. And we're going to use this for a magic trick that I think is going to, hopefully, illustrate what we're talking about. Is that a kitty cat? That is adorable. And let's see, I think once she's done drawing that, Kevin, would you mind helping me out with the magic trick? Sure. Come on up here, Kevin. Give Kevin a nice big hand. So we're going to use the drawing from Jessica, but we're going to have Kevin join us up here to help illustrate what we're talking about. Thank you for joining me. Come right this way. I chose you for a couple reasons. Mm-hmm. Number one, you're paying close attention. Mm-hmm. Number two, I've seen you before. You were at my last presentation. I think you were at a couple of presentations, or is that
The last one you had here.
Yeah.
Between Hooker Dunham
Yep.
and the last time you were here.
Yeah. All right, so this is what Kevin is going to help us illustrate. The objective of this exercise is to show how with little effort, we're able to do our everyday things that we do in life. But when negativity pushes us down, using the same amount of effort, we're not able to do the things that we do in life as easily. And to illustrate that, we have the box of mystery. Everyone go, ooh. This is the box of mystery. You can step right behind the box here. And you're just going to take your hands and place them on either side of the box, and you're just going to lift the box, a couple inches. And just see how easy it is to lift. It's easy to lift, right? Using that same amount of pressure, using that same amount of energy, you are not going to be able to lift the box because I'm going to be pushing down the box. Now, if you used more energy, if you used more force, you would be able to lift it. But for this exercise, we're going to demonstrate how using little effort, we're able to do things, but when things push us down, using that same amount of effort, we're not able to lift the box. So lift the box one more time. See how easy it is? All right. Now, using that same amount of pressure, try and lift the box with the same amount of energy. You're not going to be able to, right? Because again, I'm pushing down. As soon as I take my hand away, you can lift it up just fine, right? Lift it up again. Yep. Perfect. We're going to do this same exercise one more time, but this time your eyes are going to be closed, but keep them open for now because first, we need to get the cat. Can I take a look? This is adorable. Thank you so much, Jessica. Can I get a high five? This is our adorable cat. This is our cat that's going to represent something new that's coming into our life. You see, I think cats are wonderful. I think cats are adorable. Some people don't like cats. They don't like cats. Maybe they're allergic to cats, which is probably a good reason to not like cats. Maybe they don't like cats because they scratch up the furniture. Maybe they don't like cats because they scratch up you. I don't know. There's many reasons why we might not like cats. But really, cats are adorable. Do you like cats? Yeah. All right. So, so we're going to have you close your eyes. All right. I'm going to place the cat inside the box. Now, with the cat inside the box, this is going to be that extra something added to our life. You're going to put both hands on either side of the box.
With your eyes closed?
With your eyes closed, and try and lift the box. You won't be able to with the same amount of energy you used a moment ago. Try it one more time. And because, one last time. And let's give them a nice big hand. Watch what happens when we, of course, remove the cat from the box and try and lift the box now. And of course, we can lift it just fine. One more big hand for Kevin.
That's one heavy cat.
And you may have to see, very nice job. Now, of course, Kevin's eyes were closed, right? So the idea was that I was going to be holding down the box, and he wouldn't be able to lift the box. Now, we all had our eyes open. We can all verify. When he tried to lift the box, was I holding my hand on the box? No. It's by adding something different to our lives. It can either weigh us down, or it can lift us up, depending on our focus. And actually, may I use this cat for one more magic trick? May I?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Because this is kind of a little test. I'd like to test you folks on something. Earlier, I showed you a magic trick, and you weren't here for this, so this is going to be new for you. I did a magic trick where I waved a handkerchief in the air to misdirect people's attention. And then I placed the handkerchief inside of my fist. I placed it inside of my fist. And when I opened my hand, we had an egg. Everyone go, yay!
Yay.
Now there is a rule when doing this trick. Does anyone know what the rule is when doing this trick? Any idea? Well, of course, the rule is don't show the hole in the egg. Because if everyone sees the hole, everyone's going to know how the trick is done. In case they do see the egg, or you can do what I do, and you turn it into a real egg.
Wow.
And that's where we get a big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I won't drink that. Remember earlier, we were doing that magic trick with the egg inside the bag. We were talking about how everything is done with misdirection, or as I like to call it, redirection, directing our attention away. And then the egg, we thought it was inside my pocket, but it was actually not inside my pocket. But what was inside my pocket? What was it? It was the pepper, right? It was the pepper. Let's try this. Remember I said I couldn't put the egg inside the pepper. But what I can put inside the pepper is something a little different. Well, it's of course seeds. There's also
Wow. Oh.
a little cat. It's a little peppery now. This is for you to keep. This is a souvenir of the show. It's your drawing. Give Jessica a nice big hand. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Have any of you ever heard the story of the two wolves? I believe it's a Navajo story, The Legend of the Two Wolves. Have you ever heard about this?
No.
Well, briefly, the way the story goes is that there was this old Navajo grandfather talking to his grandson. And the grandfather said to his grandson, he said, inside of you, there is a battle between two wolves. One wolf is a good wolf. This is the wolf of love and peace and joy and truth and compassion, all those positive words from the word search. But the other wolf is the bad wolf. This is the wolf of self-pity. This is the wolf of lies. This is the wolf of resentment. And each person has this same battle going inside of them. It's going inside of you. This battle is going inside of me. It's going on inside of everyone. And to this, the grandson looked to his grandfather and said, well, grandfather, which wolf wins? What wolf is going to win this battle? What do you think the grandfather said?
The one you feed.
That's exactly right, air five. The wolf that you feed. The magic word is focus. If we feed the bad wolf will win. If we choose instead to focus on the good wolf and feed the good wolf, the wolf of compassion and love and truth, then that's the wolf that's going to win. We have the opportunity to choose the frame that we use to display the reality of our circumstances to the world. This frame these words can either lift us up or these words can drag us down. Now, I have one last magic trick that I'd like to show you folks that I think will bring this whole concept to life to get a little more comfortable. Do we have any card players here? Anyone who likes to play cards? If the answer is no, that actually makes this a lot easier for me. Let's see. We had Anne who just arrived. Welcome. It's good. This is Anne. She's one of my biggest fans.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah. She's been here every month for like a year coming to see me. I'm here every month. It's usually the second Friday of the month. So my next one will be next month in January, second Friday of the month. Come check me out. And you're going to choose any one of these cards you like. I'm going to shuffle through the cards. As I shuffle, wherever you say stop, that'll become your card. If you stop me up here, you'll get one of those. Stop me at the bottom, you're going to get one of those. So just say stop at any point as I shuffle.
Stop.
Right there. Take a look at your card. All right. I'll even show Kevin's, just in case you
Okay.
forget. Point to anyone else here. Choose anyone else you like. Richard. Oh, you know Anne. All right. I'm going to shuffle through the cards. Just say stop wherever you like.
Stop.
Right there. Take a look at your card. Don't tell me what it is. Again, I'll show.
I think when I said stop, you kept going.
I kept going a little bit. Well, don't forget what this card is.
Okay.
All right. And point to one other person. Layla. All right. Now, he accused me of cheating a moment ago. I'll try and be as exact as possible. Just say stop.
Stop.
Is that good? All right. Take a look at your card. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do something different with your card. Take your card. You actually hold on to it. And let me see if I have it. Oh, here it is. The marker that Jessica used a moment ago. You're going to draw or write your name, draw a picture, anything just to make sure that you really, really remember that card. Because we're going to do something perhaps a little different with your card. So this is going to be hopefully the last card that I find is going to be her card. We're going to do something slightly different. In musical terms, it's called a crescendo. We're going to start soft and we're going to build to a big finish to the trick. So did you draw something on there? All right, I'll take back the marker and the card. All right, I'm going to show everyone else. Show everyone, show the camera. All right, show it around, show it around. And your card goes back inside of the deck. And let's see, is anyone here good at shuffling cards? Anyone good at shuffling cards? Anne, do you shuffle cards at all? No. Kevin, do you shuffle?
Sorry.
Russ, do you shuffle?
Nope.
Well, let's try this. I'll give them to you. I'll let you take the cards. And you're going to shuffle them, and when you're done shuffling, you're going to place the rubber band around the deck of cards. We're going to take this a step further, kind of like we were talking about earlier with the lemon. Sometimes life presents new things to us, like a cat, or perhaps like hydrochloric acid, or perhaps muggers from Pittsburgh. Life gives us new things. And once you're done, you may bring the cards up here. Yep. And you may place the cards right on top of the box. And stay up here, because you have one last thing you're going to do. You're going to put me into the straitjacket. So if I am to find those 3 cards, this is part of the crescendo. This is starting to build already. I must first escape from the straitjacket, shuffle through the cards that you just mixed yourself to find those 3 cards. Now, at the top here, you'll see there's a series of buckles, kind of like a belt. You're going to start at the top, pull them as tight as you can, and work your way all the way down until all the buckles are tight. Some of you might recognize this stunt as something made popular by the great escape artist
Houdini.
Houdini, that's exactly right. He was the first performer to use this as a stunt for entertainment purposes. Now, Houdini used to hang upside down from skyscraper and escape. Now, I have insurance, but I don't want to have to use it. So instead of hanging upside down from a skyscraper, I'm doing this while trying to find some playing cards. Now once you work your way all the way down to the final one at the bottom, there's one last strap, which is for my arms. You may strap the last strap in place and pull it as tight as you can. Now Houdini came up with the idea of doing this stunt because he saw an insane person, someone who was clinically insane. He visited an insane asylum, and he saw someone strapped into a straitjacket, struggling. But every few minutes or so of struggling, the person would pass out. After being passed out for a few minutes, they would come to and start struggling again. Oh, everything's good? Now, I would shake your hand, but I can't. So let's just give her a nice big hand. She did a great job. Thank you very much. Now, the reason the person was passing out is the straitjacket restricts your breathing. So if you struggle too much, you're going to pass out. But the nice thing is, once you pass out, you're not struggling anymore, so you can breathe just fine. So I'm going to try and do this without struggling too much. But I'm going to do it while trying to find those 3 playing cards and attempting to beat Houdini's record. He could do it in right about 2 minutes. I'm going to see if I can break that record. Either by breaking his record or breaking my own personal record of right about 2 hours. Whichever comes first. Is everyone ready?
Not for 2 hours.
Not for 2 hours, he says. All right, on the count of 1, 2, 3.
Don't
Okay.
miss it.
Houdini, it said, would dislocate his shoulder. Hopefully I won't do that. All right, if you chose a card, raise your hand. It was Anne, Richard, and Lane. All right, I have one card. Oh, I have another one. All right, one more. Oh, I think this is it. All right, now you still have to get out of this thing. I gotta lose more weight. All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's nap time. I can nap later. We have to find out if those 3 cards, I need to catch my breath, if those 3 cards are the very same 3 cards that we chose a moment ago. All right, I'm going to show you the cards one at a time. If you see your card, if you hear me say your card, you're going to say, yes, that's my card. You'll accept a big round of applause. It's going to be great. All right, who chose the King of Hearts? Who chose the King of Hearts?
Yes!
It was you! I was in a straitjacket, and I found the King of Hearts. Thank you, Anne. Thank you. All right, who chose the 3 of clubs?
Yay.
Thank you. This is exhausting. Wait a second. We have 1 card left. It's a little bit of a problem. Now, it might be because it's a face card. Did you draw you drew a picture or wrote your name? What did you put on there?
I wrote my name.
Are you sure?
I thought so.
Are you positive?
I am, actually.
Was your card the Jack of Spades?
No.
Okay, well, this reminds me, when I was a little boy, there was this saying, and my uncle used to tell me, he would say Jonas, because that was my name. He would say, Jonas, if at first you don't succeed, stop and destroy all evidence that you ever tried at all. So I'm just gonna get out of here. I'm kidding. This was terrible advice. Stop and destroy all of it. I never listened to my uncle. I listened to my father. You know what my father would say? He'd say, son, because that was my name. He'd say, son, try again. Well, we have a whole deck of cards. I suppose I could try again. However, today has been about focusing on positivity. Today has been about taking reality and not ignoring it, not only wishing things were so, but to literally create a foundation of positivity that will ground us. And what better way to ground us than our shoes? Inside of my shoe, I have a playing card. What card did you choose?
The 4 of clubs.
Are you sure it wasn't the 5 of clubs?
Yes.
Oh, thank heavens. I have the 4 of clubs with your name on it. It's a souvenir. You get the shoe card. It has truly been a joy sharing today with all of you. I understand that, well, you folks being in Brattleboro, this is a great community. You folks are all very, very positive. I've been coming here since I was a little kid, and that's why I like to come here every month. So I'm going to be here next month, and then I'll be here. We don't have any dates all scheduled for 2018, but we're going to be scheduling those out. I would love to see all of you folks back in the future. But I realize that positivity doesn't come natural to everyone. Certainly our environment helps, but also our daily habits help as well. And if there's one final piece of encouragement I have for you, it's this. It's kind of like changing the shape of an ice cube. Changing from negative mindset, focusing on negativity and switching over to positivity. It's like changing the shape of an ice cube. There's 3 steps. The first step is to melt down the ice. Step number 1. Step number 2, you have to decide on the new shape you want the ice to be and then refreeze the water in that new shape. And I'm encouraged by the words that the Pittsburgh Steelers used when they told me, stay cool, give it up. Steelers. Because we have to give up our old way of thinking. Just let it melt away and decide on a new, more positive way to be. Then practice it every day until it freezes into a new, more positive life. Now, it's truly been a joy sharing today with all of you. I hope you've enjoyed the experience as much as I have. My name is Jonas Cain. Stay cool. Give it up. Thank you very much. You're very welcome, Richard. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your help today. Thank you for coming. Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you. And you did a great job in the show with the cat. Very nice job. And I have something for Anne, because you came a little late. We have positive words. There you go. You're welcome, Kevin. Great to see you. Thank you for your help.